My wife never saw it coming when she gave my $80 million heirloom watch to her male secretary. The May family empire filed for bankruptcy overnight and lost everything they had built. Because that watch had the Liu family crest engraved on the back and no one but the heir was ever allowed to touch it, yet it was showing up all over her secretary's social media. In the photo, he was showing it off proudly on his wrist with a caption full of bragging. My girl Grace gave me this, and I gotta say, this watch matches my vibe perfectly. Anyone in the know want to give me an estimate? I texted Grace. My fingers were shaking as I typed, "You have 30 minutes to put that watch back where you found it, or I will make sure your whole family regrets it." She texted back fast with a whiny tone. "Babe, don't be like that. Vinny was just curious." Half an hour later, I hit the call button. The May Group boardroom suddenly erupted in chaos. Vinny was trying to shamelessly worm his way into the head seat wearing that heirloom watch. Security was dragging him out, and the watch slipped right off his wrist and crashed down onto the conference table. Some things, when broken, stay broken. But whoever put their hands on it was going to rot for it. "Nathan, you have completely lost your mind. You actually sent security to throw Vinny out of the boardroom before Grace even stepped inside." Her voice was already blowing through like a storm. I kept my eyes down and tapped the table. "Didn't even look up, I said 30 minutes. He is my secretary, and he just locked in a $300 million deal with Europe." She stormed over to me in her sky-high heels and slammed her expensive Hermes bag down hard on the floor. "The board is already full of old foxes who look down on me for being young, and they give me grief at every turn. And you go and hand them the knife yourself. You just have to keep poking around in May family business thinking you own the place. Like I can't survive without the Liu family." I looked up at her and let out a cold laugh. "You know exactly what that watch means. The Liu family crest is engraved on the back. Not even the heir is supposed to touch it, and you just went ahead and gave it away to your pretty boy." Grace's face went stiff and she shoved all the papers off the table. "There are dozens of luxury watches stuffed in the drawer at home. Vinny had to go close a $100 million deal today. I lent it to him to make an impression. So what, he clawed his way up from nothing. Do you know how hard that is? Make an impression." I yanked off my tie and let out a cold laugh. Anyone who didn't know better would think he was your secret kept man from outside. All kinds of people claw their way up from nothing. Everyone climbs their own ladder, so Mrs. May, since you're feeling so generous, why not dump your May Group shares and hand them out to every kid from the countryside along with a Patek Philippe each? "Nathan, you are such a jerk." Grace finally snapped, hitting a nerve. She was shaking with rage. "On our 6th wedding anniversary, I bought out an entire private island in the Maldives, and you spent it in a hotel celebrating Vinny's birthday, even posting photos of you hand-feeding him cake on social media." Grace stiffened and snapped back, "Nathan, can you stop being so paranoid like some bitter ex? It really was Vinny's birthday that day, and the client kept pushing drinks on him. He is allergic to alcohol, and if I wasn't there to cover for him, he could have died. Our anniversary comes every year, but what if Vinny had actually died from drinking?" I pulled up my phone and opened the photo album. There was Vinny, posing in front of a Porsche for his birthday, and you threw him a whole hotel party, and gifted him a sports car on my birthday. You had your assistant send me a bunch of fake flowers. Grace, tell me, who exactly is your husband, me or Vinny? You are not lacking for anything," she snorted, with nothing but contempt in her eyes. "Nathan picking fights with someone younger than you. Don't you find that embarrassing?" I suddenly laughed, but that smile never reached my eyes. "Well, Grace, you had better warn your precious secretary that if he ever sets foot in the May Group boardroom again, your family can count on the Liu family pulling every dollar out." "Grace, you are threatening me." She completely snapped, her chest heaving violently. She pointed at me and screamed, "You have gone too far." I calmly reached over and pressed the intercom. My voice was ice cold. "Send security up and escort Mrs. May out." "Fine, Nathan, you want to play it this way?" She ground her teeth, every word forced out like she was squeezing them through her teeth. "You just wait, Grace. If she does not admit defeat, then there will be trouble." And before the words were even out, she spun around and drove her foot hard into the door and stormed out before security even made it up. Grace was gone for a full 4 days. During those 4 days, I was buried deep in negotiations for a massive cross-border acquisition, barely had a moment to breathe. On the evening of the 4th day, just as I wrapped up the final round of asset valuation, a news alert on my phone went off like a bomb. May Group President Grace May and Vinny Du spotted entering the same apartment building 3 nights in a row. Grace and Vinny spending nights together. Bentley caught on camera. I tapped the top trending video. The footage was crystal clear. Vinny climbing out of the back seat of Grace's signature custom Bentley. Grace reaching over to fix Vinny's tie. The gesture was intimate. And then the two of them walked side by side into the elevator of an apartment building. And that apartment was one I had bought the year we got married, because I felt bad about how hard she worked, so I got her a luxury penthouse right next to May Group as a place to rest during late nights. Back then, she had cried and laughed, hugging me around the neck, and said she would be Mrs. Liu for the rest of her life. The most ironic part was her last text message to me 4 days ago. "Business trip in Linton, don't worry about me." I gripped my phone so tight my knuckles went white. I called my lawyer directly, "Drop the divorce papers right now, immediately." I want her to walk away with absolutely nothing, not a single thread from the Liu family. It felt like someone had their fist around my heart and I could barely breathe. There had been real love between Grace and me once as the sole heir to the Liu family. I was raised from childhood to stay composed, but the first time I saw Grace at a business meeting, she was in a clean white button-down, pointing out errors in a financial report, slamming the table and tearing into her team with this fierce, unstoppable energy. That spirit hit me like a bolt of lightning and split open the perfectly orderly world I had always lived in. In that moment, I was completely gone. I went home and slammed my own hand on the table. Told my grandfather point blank, "That woman is the one I am marrying." It was not like the Liu family had no other options. There were plenty of women from prominent families with impeccable backgrounds and gentle personalities, but in my eyes, not a single one of them came close to Grace's raw vitality and ambition. Over the years, the Liu family poured everything into propping up May Group from capital to connections, and pushed it all the way to the top of the new money circle in the city. I gave her everything I had. And what does she do? Turns right around and slips my family's heirloom watch onto that pretty boy's wrist. My phone rang like a siren. Grace, her father. Frank May's voice came through the speaker. Nathan, the trending story is fake. Grace just got her head turned by that pretty boy for a second. She lost it momentarily. You wait right there, I will drag that kid over myself and make him kneel and beg your forgiveness. Before the words were even out, she grabbed a blue and white porcelain teacup off the coffee table and hurled it at him. The shards cut right into my hand. Grace, have you lost your mind? Frank turned around and slapped her hard across the face. You are going to bring this whole family down. Half of Grace's face swelled up instantly, and a trace of blood seeped from the corner of her mouth. She pressed her hand to her face and stared at him in disbelief. Dad over an outsider. You actually hit me, Vinny, and I are completely innocent. He set me up. I expressionlessly wiped the blood off the back of my hand and slapped the divorce papers down onto the coffee table. Grace, sign it and get out of my sight. Grace stared hard at the words, walks away with nothing on the divorce papers. I am not signing. She snapped her head up. Her eyes were red, and tears were falling like broken beads onto the paper. Nathan, it was just a watch. You really want to throw away everything over some watch? If you're that upset, fine. I will have May Group buy out the entire Swiss auction house and get you 10 or 20 limited editions. Can we just not do this? I looked up at her. My voice was completely flat. Grace, do you understand what it represents? The Lu family crest is engraved on the back. It is an heirloom passed down through generations. I have told you this 800 times. That watch is not to be touched. Grace's crying stopped cold, and her face drained of color instantly. Her lips trembled as she said, I forgot. No, you didn't forget. I tugged at my tie and felt my throat tighten. You just decided Vinny mattered more. Nathan, I was wrong. I really was wrong. She suddenly dropped to her knees and gripped my pant leg desperately. I had completely lost my head. He said he just needed it to impress a client and would give it right back. Just forgive me this one time, okay? Frank quickly shuffled over toward me, wearing a coaxing smile. Nathan, listen. Grace just had a momentary lapse in judgment. Young people make mistakes. Couples who grow old together don't hold grudges overnight. He shot a look in Grace's direction and dropped his voice. She knows she messed up. She will change. She absolutely will. I let out a cold laugh and my eyes swept over the wedding photo hanging on the wall. So just saying sorry makes it all go away. She lets Vinny walk around wearing the Lu family heirloom watch. On top of that, she let it get damaged. Frank stiffened and forced another smile. That Vinny kid. We will deal with him right now. Transfer him to the Africa branch. He is never setting foot in this city again. He dug his fingers hard into Grace's arm. She flinched in pain and immediately threw herself forward, grabbing onto my arm with tears streaming down her face. I will make it happen right now. Tomorrow he is gone to go dig mines. Nathan, give me one more chance. I will be your devoted servant. Please, I am begging you. Her voice was ice cold and full of tears. She did look genuinely pitiful. I stared at her reddened eyes and thought back to the image of her walking toward me in her wedding dress. My heart quietly softened. This is the last time. Grace, her eyes lit up instantly. She grabbed her phone and called May Group HR right in front of me. Her voice was trembling badly, but she gritted her teeth and had Vinny's assignment changed to Zambia, Africa, effective today. Permanent no return. And she hung up. Then she looked up at me and forced a smile. That smile looked worse than crying. Over the next 2 weeks, Grace was like a completely different person. She came home on time every day and worked away in the kitchen. Got oil splatters all over her hands, raising blisters, and brought out braised ribs that still smelled a little burnt. Try some. I spent 3 days learning from the housekeeper. When I burned myself, I finally understood how much it must have hurt when you used to cook for me and got burned too. I looked at the bandages wrapped around her fingertips and let out a quiet grunt. On the weekend, I went to the family estate to visit Grandpa. She followed along with a thermos and crouched in the courtyard peeling oranges for me. The housekeeper said your stomach runs cold, so I made you lamb broth. Sunlight rested on top of her hair, and I suddenly thought about the divorce papers in the drawer. I had not touched them in a while. Half a month later, the cross-border acquisition I had been working on was entering its final stretch. The conference room lights had been on for 4 straight nights. The moment I signed the last document, I finally leaned back in my chair and let out a breath. Then my phone blew up. It was my assistant Kevin. His voice was cracking. Mr. Lu, you need to get over here. Now things have gone completely sideways at Cloud Peak Club. Some kid with green hair named Danny Du just lost $600,000 at Cloud Peak Club's underground casino, and is claiming he is your brother-in-law, saying he is Mrs. May's little brother, and that the Lu family and May Group have his back, and now he has the manager locked in a private room, threatening to trash the whole place. Danny Du, Vinny's little brother. My grip on the phone tightened hard and my knuckles went white. Vinny. I had already shipped him off to Africa to dig coal, and Grace had sworn up and down that he would never set foot in this city again, and now, even his little brother was out here throwing the Lu family name around like he owned the place. I called Grace. Her phone was off. The secretary said she was in the middle of an international video conference and was not taking any calls. I stared out at the rain and darkness beyond the window and let out a quiet laugh. International video conference, right? I bet she is busy being backup for Vinny's little brother. Get the car ready, head to Cloud Peak Club. I pushed open the door to the VIP private room. The green-haired kid was standing on the coffee table running his mouth, and Vinny was sitting right there on the couch. Wearing the cashmere suit I had custom made last year, the moment he saw me walk in, the cigar dropped right out of his hand. Mr. Lu, what brings you here? I ignored him and fixed my eyes on the green-haired kid. You are Danny Du. Your daddy! He puffed up his chest, but my ice-cold stare stopped him dead, and he shrank back a little. My brother-in-law is Nathan Lu. My sister is Grace May. You want to touch me? Who the hell is your brother-in-law? I grabbed the crystal ashtray off the table and slammed it hard onto the marble surface. Glass shards exploded across his face. He screamed and scrambled behind Vinny. Bro, he hit me. Vinny jumped up to block him. Mr. Lu, Danny is young. He had too much to drink and said some stupid stuff, so drinking is an excuse to extort people using the Lu family name. I stepped forward, closing in on him.